Hey, all you beautiful people. Welcome to your new favorite podcast, the Conscious Moment Collective, where we dive deep into beautifully conscious conversations that are going to shake up your soul and challenge your thought for your own soul's growth. So if that sounds like something you are into, then let's dive in.
This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and not intended to be used as medical advice in any capacity. You should always speak to your medical provider before implementing anything spoken about on this show. I just want to thank the Holy Spirit for being in this space right here and right now, knowing that the divine healing is taking place, the seeds are being planted, the body, the physical vessel, the soul is remembering who we are, and being in this beautiful space and this healing and this upliftment and oneness, connectedness, beautiful divine transmutation of energy in this space, that you are able to boldly go forward in this beautiful divine healing energy, that you are taking the lessons and able to implement them in the most divine way, love to all, harm to none, in this beautiful space of creation, that any low vibrational energies be rebuked in the name of Jesus right here and right now. Any monitoring spirits go deaf and any evil eyes go blind, knowing that every space is protected, everyone is protected as they go forward and implement anything and everything that is being spoken about in this podcast right here and right now. And so it is.
Hey, all you beautiful people. Welcome to your new favorite podcast, the Conscious Moment Collective, where we dive deep into beautifully conscious conversations that are going to shake up your soul and challenge your thought for your own soul's growth. So if that sounds like something you are into, then let's dive in. Hey, y'all. So today, as our first beautiful episode kicking off this podcast, we are going to be discussing spiritual warfare and things I actually do every morning as part of my morning routine, because y'all, the brighter your light is, trust that things great and not so great are going to be absolutely attracted to your light. And so while our soul growth and our connection to God continues to grow deeper, do recognize that we do also need to balance out the fact that we have these things around us. And it's absolutely not to scare you, by no means. If you know me, that is not my thing. I actually take gratitude in the wisdom and knowledge that God's given us. And me specifically, I'm always speaking gratitude into the wisdom and the knowledge and the resources, things that are brought into my life when I express, God, I need your help on this, right? If you know me, I'm always asking every day, where do I need to go? How do I need to move through this? And that's actually part of what I want to get into today. And of course, finishing up with our meditation, working with the root chakra, really getting into that grounding energy, because we have to be in a grounded, safe space, physically, emotionally, spiritually, to not only, of course, like truly connect with God. Of course, we can connect with God regardless of the state we're in, but in the context I'm speaking about, to set the stage of protection, whether you work with angels or other higher dimensional entities, love to all, harm to none. That is the thing you will always hear me say, that I always encourage others to say, love to all, harm to none, right here and right now, because you are commanding, speaking into existence, the expectation, the vibration that is allowed to exist and things that are not allowed to exist. And you're making a very clear distinction, and also simultaneously stating right here and right now, it creates a little pinpoint in the quantum field. If you know me, I teach quantum physics, and how, because the reality is it is everywhere. It is fully engaged in our life. We are just so humanized. And when I say humanized, it is a very nice way of saying dumbed down, to myself included. So this is not you. This is something I am constantly breaking out of myself. These human conditionings that have literally dumbed us down to look past everything that God has created for us, in us, and through us, to be able to grasp and live in the realm, the state of being He created us to do. But of course, we've humanized, we've dumbed down everything, including all the things that are being put into the food. And I mean, if you know me, you know I could go on tangents about it, but that's not relevant to today. Today it's about protection, but it is all intertwined. Truly, in reality, it is. When you step back and you look at the grand scheme of things, it absolutely is. And that is part of the things you'll also hear me talk about. I include that in all of things: our diet, our lifestyles, our kids, how we raise our children, my work as a coach, as a generational trauma practitioner who guides mothers through their trauma so that they themselves can be their own light beacon, and then they themselves can be that beacon for their children. Yes, I can help guide you in the classes. I can do these things, and it's great. It's a great resource. I am a fantastic resource. But I'm not living your life. I'm not doing your life for you in and through you. You are the puzzle piece you are supposed to fill, not me. I'm just here to walk it with you. And that's the point of this podcast, is to really challenge you to grow in these ways and how you deem that fit. And so putting up your team, whatever that looks like, love to all, harm to none, right here and right now, creating that pinpoint in the quantum realm, in the fabric of time, space continuum, because time is not actually linear. You will hear me go on and on about that, because it isn't linear. This is how we can quantum leap, and we can hop timelines, and we can play with the different frequencies. And we literally, there was this recent, I was giggling because I was like sitting there and I was like, I literally feel like we're doing this. And the other person was like, yeah, no, that's really exactly how I feel. I'm so ungrounded, because we were quite literally trying to ground into the timelines we were shifting around into. And oh my gosh, my ears just lit up. And it's just true. It is going off about being able to ground our bodies into this. And that is one of the most helpful things, is regardless of the transition we are going through, regardless of what is happening in our 3D to reality, or trying to ground into whatever timeline we might be switching it on and off from, we are going to need to come back to this protection practice. We're going to need to come back to this state of groundedness within our physical vessel to tap into that higher realm. Because if you think that your kids are just, and your partner can just wander about the world, aimlessly, and not have an impact, especially if you're a mom or the woman in the relationship, if y'all don't have children yet, like us as women, y'all, we are so incredibly powerful when we step back into our humble power. This is not egoic. This is not, look at me, I'm this bougie bitch. Like, no, thank you, ma'am. That is not like, ew. That energy is just so gross. It's just so cringy. And so that is not what we're about. We are about that humbleness and that power behind it, because there's just such a fierceness and that deep feminine power that is just, oof. I'm so lit up. But my point in saying that is we have it. All of us do. We can all tap into it as part of our feminine essence, and is what makes us such beautifully epic beings as women, when we tap into that divine feminine essence. And that is that power. And it's through that power, through that healedness. And it's not saying like you have to be perfect and humble and healed and all this bougie, like, fuck no, man. Like, trust that I am able to fully tap into this work day in and day out. And I am not healed. I am just consistently peeling back my own layers. I'm consistently tackling my own shit, right? Like, life happens to me too. I am so not perfect. I just implement everything that I teach on a consistent, ongoing basis, so my life flows very fluidly, despite the fucking ups and downs and things happening, kids, I'm single right now, and how that works with life and dating and all the things in today. And if you're married, and working with your partner and relationships as a whole, and all of these things that are going on in life, y'all, we ain't perfect. Okay, I'm not perfect, but when we implement these things, and especially, I call it my daily minimums. You always hear me. I have daily minimums for how my body is to move, because of the goals I have with my physical vessel, the goals I have with my spiritual vessel, and that is getting into meditation every morning. And it might be 5 minutes, because I might have woken up late, and it's like, I don't care. I have a daily minimum that if I am rushing out the door late as all can be, it is a 15-minute minimum, and that hits my physical vessel, my body, and my mind, and it resets everything on a bare minimum. Now, my actual daily minimums is closer to 45 minutes, 46 actually. I have it down to a T. But that is on my normal routine. I'm waking up and everything is scheduled and accordingly. I have the time to do that, and then my workouts come later if on the days I work out, right? And so these are the things that I meet. Daily minimums for you are going to look different based on your goals, but I would love to encourage you, out of this meditation, after this session that we're having together today, is what are your daily minimums? What is your daily minimum that you are this is a set of things. This is a ritual, however you want to call it, whatever it is you want to call it, it doesn't matter. But it is a set of things that hits your mind goals, your physical body goals. So for me, it's flexibility and strength training that I have a bare minimum of key areas, because of injury and all kinds of things that I've done research on and where I'm at, right? That's my body. And then my spiritual, right? And so spiritual is connecting into that aspect. For me, it's setting up protection. That's my spiritual side. And then the mind, it is getting very clear on different things that I'm researching right now, and it varies every single day. And it all starts the night before, when I get very clear on what I'm going to be researching, what I'm going to, and like doing and engaging on the mental side and everything else for the next day, in addition to my work, my schedule, and everything else, and getting it all laid out. I already know the night before. And so these are different things that when we are talking about protection, we need to bear in mind all of our different minimums. What are your little alarm bells that something is slipping, something isn't right? I could go on for days of my own little internal alarm bells of things I see within myself, of my day-to-day goals and my day-to-day life. Oh, Alex, you're slipping here. Are you okay? You need to check in with yourself about this, right? But that's because I've consistently observed myself and I know where I'm, you know what I mean? So it's like you find these little things about ourselves, and that's what I want to encourage you to do, because it's not just spiritual protection and just putting our angels and team about us right here and right now. It's also about the protection of every aspect of our life, because those little footholds, say you're struggling at work, and you're going to need to be remembering to go into prayer, go into that protection mode, or go into that mindset of, God, I need you to help me with X, Y, and Z today. You know, because trust, when I do my night before and I go into all these things, I'm in prayer about it. I'm already, okay, cool. We're visualizing, we're done, we're this, we're that. Here's the accomplishment, here's the end goal. It's already done before I go to sleep that night. So that the next morning it's boom, hitting the ground. Yeah, it's already done. It's already done. Here's the motion, we're done. Like, it's already just done. We just have to go through the motions now, because I've already seen it. I've already created it, did it the night before. Then I slept on it. Now you create the reality. Super simple. But it's because even when I have these bare minimums, ask anyone. I am so strict about my bedtime. There's only little bits and bobs that I will make very few rare exceptions for surpassing my bedtime. Why? Because I know in order to function and thrive and do the things I need to do at the level I expect myself to perform at, I have to meet these bare minimums. And it starts the night before. And it also starts with our protection and recognizing that in that time before my prayer, before I start planning, I'm in protection, I'm in prayer. Hey, thank you for this protection. Thank you for this innocence. Thank you for this acceptance. Thank you for this oneness. Thank you for the wisdom. Oh my gosh, the wisdom. Just the wisdom to even recognize there's a problem, to even gain the awareness that, oh, this isn't working for me. Oh, there's that alarm bell. I need to pay attention to this. That awareness, y'all. The awareness that we need God more than anything, day in and day out. The awareness that we need God to help us. And it's not like he's got to do all of it now. I mean, sometimes, I need that wisdom. I need the, hello, help me see with your eyes, please, in this situation, because I can't, my human eyes, my tiny human brain isn't humaning in the level I want it to human, okay? Or maybe it isn't, that's the problem. It's because we are tiny humans. I don't know. Let me know in the comments and stuff and wherever you're finding this at, what you think. If it's our tiny human brain not humaning, or it's just the fact that our humanness is just so tiny and infantile in comparison to God that it just, we're humans. And recognizing that that is also the magnitude in which we live in the finite and the infinite level that God is, that it's as images, as creatures that were spoken into existence by God to be of, let's just say, if you're watching me right now, there is no mistake. You're meant to be here for a reason. There is no mistake. Your soul didn't just bleep into the existence. Like, no, there is such a beautiful creation and wisdom and intelligence behind every single one of us and why we're here. And that, for me, I know is part of my mission, and why I'm supposed to do is to help awaken the consciousness. And part of why this podcast exists is because you're supposed to tap into the wisdom. You're literally, if you're finding my podcast, if you're listening to my content, whatever it is, you are here for a reason. It is because you are tapping into the infinite wisdom that is within you. It's beautiful, it is intelligent, it is so damn good. But we also might have to walk through some dark, but it's because we have to go through that depths within each and every one of us. You will always hear me go back to you within, for that is where God resides. And that's what we're going to get into. However that looks, when you're meeting your bare minimums, you need to protect around that, making sure you're meeting those, because that is one way the enemy, as the Christian church would call it, the devil, that type of thing, right? It's that energy, it's that frequency, it's that entity, it's those other things. It could be, there's a lot of things it could be. Let's just put it that way. But either way, it doesn't matter what it is, because the end result for you and what you need to do for you is still the same. And that is protecting yourself. We're going to do the meditation that it's basically what I do for myself, especially on days that I'm feeling like a lot of heavy energy. It's something I normally do anyways for most days, but like I'll really anchor into this meditation when I am feeling heavy energy. But biggest key takeaways for today is, if you don't have their daily minimums, you need to be making a daily minimum. It's something you can do first thing in the morning is my suggestion. Why? Because especially if you have kids, oh my gosh, that is going to be the only time, because even if you try to do it right before bed, you're going to really sit up there after a long ass day and be like, yeah, I'm ready to move my body and study and think comprehensively and I can't even say it, complex, the complexity. See, your brain's going to be like mine. I'm just tapping into the energy and my brain just went there, right? You're going to be like what I just sounded, and it's going to be like that. And it's just, at least from my experience, good luck. That's all I got to say. I hope it works for you, but for me, I tried. I'm a night owl by nature, and it just is what it is for me. And so if that's you, no shame, and do it first thing in the morning. Do it before. I tell my kids they are not allowed to come through my door before 7 a.m. on any day, because unless it's like an emergency, of course, different. They know the expectations, okay, we'll put it that way. But it's because that's mommy's time for her to prepare for the day. My mental, physical, and spiritual daily minimums are being taken place at that time. So do not come in, because I don't like being bothered when I'm trying to take care of myself and do the things I require to function again at that level that I want to see me perform. I require certain things to be here. And what's cool is my kids, especially my daughter, who is a teenager, she's doing the same thing for herself, and she's playing with her schedule, and she's finding out what her minimums are. And these are just things from conversations, and she sees me and doing the things and being not just curious, but different little footholds have happened where I got to kind of have these deeper conversations about what does she want for her and for her goals, and all the different stuff that as a young woman in training, we call her, is what I call her, is how does she want to show up for herself, for her own body? How does she want to move? For her own mind, where does she want to grow? And for her own spirit, how can she challenge herself to connect with God deeper every day? And in meditation and prayer, whatever that looks like. She found it in yoga, and she's like, I find myself talking to God a lot when I'm just going through and listening to the videos. We had a really beautiful discussion actually about that, and how she kind of just ended up in this flow of nature. And so I'm gonna cry because it was so beautiful. Being able to witness my children, being able to do what it is they truly love and connect with themselves uniquely and individually, because I'm showing them. And that's what I get to witness in my mamas and my clients, and that same win for them. How it unfolds, of course, uniquely for them. It's going to look a little bit different, of course, but it's like that same level of win is so fucking cool and powerful and life-changing, generational changing. These babies are learning a new way to do things that doesn't have to be in survival. We can learn a greater thing. It's of course not being the doormat or anything crazy like that. Absolutely not. If you know me, I'm all about firm boundaries, baby. Speak your truth. Don't ever let nobody run you over. And we can exist with an infinite amount of love simultaneously. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And if you're anything like me, a lot of times I was taught in a lot of variety of ways and experiences, it had to be one or the other. And it's that scarcity and that all of that, right? We don't have to be there. We can be in that infinite love, and it comes with connecting with God. And it's always this beautiful space. You always see it's like right here. It's like between the solar plexus and the heart, and it is so powerful. And it's just like that ooey gooey love. And so when you are feeling down, because the reality is we all are going to have these moments, myself included, because I do this to myself, I go back into that space and I just ask. And sometimes even just like God, I need that hug. I need that ooey gooey love right now, because like my heart is broken or my heart is hurting or whatever's going on, right? And trust, like even right now, like I just like my body is getting it. It's like this big hug, and it's just like so uplifting, and it's like my heart could just melt because it feels so good. And that's what I want to encourage you more than anything, to tap into that infinite love when we go into this meditation here in a minute. To tap into that protection, tap into that ooey gooey goodness that is just this beautiful protection. It's held, it's protected, it's love. It is just so vulnerable, but so strong and pure at the same time. And it's just so divine. I'm so chilled. And it's just such a beautiful place to be. And when we can cultivate that energy within ourselves and learn how to tap in, y'all, that creation space is unmatched. I don't care if you're a mom or a dad or whatever, right? Or if you don't have children in your life, you're just doing this over your own life. Do it over your home, do it over your work, do it over your car. Every time I get into my car, I have my own little thing I do, and boop, I had my own little bubble. It's a little cloud we float on, like quite literally. It is just a protection. And it's so funny because people are always like, how do you have the easiest drives into the most chaotic traffic? Well, because I already called that in, I already made it happen. I already asked, I already told, thanked God, not even told God. I already thanked God. Hey, thank you for making this so easy. And all the police are just so uniquely out of my way. Or my kid in the back seat, I trained him to be very excited when police officers, and of course ambulance and all the things, right? But specifically police officers were seen. So it's like all of these things, these obstacles that would be a negative in my life are just so conveniently and easily let out of my way. And I can drive how I want and need safely to my destination. Thank you. And it's so simple. It's so integrated in my day-to-day life. It's every time I get in my car, it's just an automatic thing. Okay, before I leave my driveway. And this is the type of lifestyle I want to encourage you to have. But it first, of course, comes with incorporating that protection. So go ahead and get settled in. I'm going to take a sip of my water, which I want to encourage you to do as well if you are still here hanging out with us, because anytime we do any kind of energy work, we are going to burn a lot of energy. And well, it's really like the minerals and the salts, like we would be if we were burning, like working out, how we're physically moving and moving the energy through our muscles and everything else. We're doing the same type of energy movement. It's just, yes, our physical vessel is sedentary, but the internal, trust me, is not. So if you are dehydrated or more lethargic at the end of this, that is going to be why. So bear that in mind. So go ahead and get comfortable. Make sure if you are sitting on the ground not to cross your legs. If you want to put your feet together like mine are, or you can lay with them flat. The biggest thing is we don't want to cross our arms or our extremities of any kind, because that way it can hinder us with being able to have the ability to really energetically connect. It has to do with, it's like a current, right? A flow. It is a current, but it's like an electrical cord. And it's like that current flow, and not wanting to impede the current flow to kind of give you a little bit of a diagram and mental picture of what it is ultimately that we're trying to create the loop of. And if we cross it, it hinders that connection. It doesn't stop it, but adds what's called a resistance to it. And so little things to think about when you guys are doing meditation. So go ahead and just get into a comfortable position. If you want to lay down, that's comfortable too. If you fall asleep, absolutely no worries. It's going to be a brief meditation. And when we're taking in our big breaths, I want you to try to focus on your belly. So whenever I say take a deep belly breath in, taking about here, try your best to get really big, right? And then coming back in as we exhale. So taking a deep belly breath in, slowly letting it out. Coming into your body right here and right now. Feeling into this mind, body, and soul, and connecting within in this beautiful spirit in this space, in your heart space, connecting with God, divine, whatever human label we want to put on it. I just want you to feel into this infinite love. Taking a deep breath in. Slowly letting it out. Allowing yourself to feel into this present moment right here and right now. Allowing yourself to cultivate this beautiful grounded bubble of protection, love, all harm to none, in this beautiful time and space right here and right now. Taking a deep breath in. Slowly letting it out. Allowing yourself to feel into this present moment, getting completely fixated. And as you are just getting focused and present in your body, sometimes it can help to touch. It's that spot right between your breastbone and your solar plexus, not quite to that soft spot, is the spot particularly I'm talking about. And it's here if you want to place your palm over it, specifically your right. And I want you to imagine this beautiful, bright, white bubble, almost like it's coming out from you forward, but also around you, almost like the bubble is coming from within you, because it quite literally is. And being able to feel this bubble just coming out from within you and enveloping your body and the room you're in. And I want you just to hold space for a moment and then simply just acknowledge it and just get familiar with it. Familiar how beautiful and divinely protected you feel. If you've ever felt a time where God has just swooped you up and held you and protected you and guided you and quite literally carried you. This is that feeling of protection, of love, and of being held that you are seeking to evoke in the moment. And I want you to feel this beautiful love, this beautiful comfort, this beautiful just like oneness that you're feeling with God. As you're just kind of sitting in this bubble, whatever feels good at the distance from your physical vessel, there's no right or wrong, and just holding this space and getting familiar with how even your back feels just so protected and safe, and you are just so held. You are just so physically held. You are so spiritually held. You are so divinely held by God. And it's just this beautiful bubble. And you feel so safe. And you feel so loved in this bubble. And you're just feeling so just like even rejuvenated as you should. You're being held by our Creator, our Divine, the Most High, the Holy Spirit, God, the Holy Trinity is holding you in that space, that beautiful divinity. That is what you're being held in right here and right now, loved all, harm to none, in this beautiful space. And I want you just to sit in this and get familiar with it. And just simply hold space right here and right now, what that feels like, how relieving and loving and joyful and even playful possibly. How does your physical vessel feel to be held by the Most High right here and right now in this beautiful little love bubble, this protection bubble, this divine bubble of just amazingness? What does that feel like in your physical vessel? What does that feel like to be held so lovingly and so divinely by the Most High in this little bubble of protection? And I want you to feel into these beautiful feelings. Taking a deep belly breath in, holding it at the top, slowly letting it out, and allowing yourself to ooze into grace with this present moment. Just feeling so loved, feeling so held, feeling so gifted and powerful. Not in that egoic way, but just that beautiful, humble warrior spirit just over you, enveloping you with love and grace. Taking a deep breath in, slowly letting it out. And now that we've gotten a bit more familiar with this bubble, I want you to allow it to expand out further than it's been. This is going to envelope your house or your apartment, condo, whatever you live in. And even expanding it over to your neighbors, but at least the area in which you dwell, including your car, your home, your job. And a home might be like the city, the place you go to, normal day-to-day things. But your job, especially if it's out of your normal immediate home. Filling into this bubble where it just protects everything around you. The people you love. If you have children or a partner, or even for yourself, you might call on your team, and that might be angels, higher level entities or beings, loved all, harm to none, right here and right now, for the highest good of all and all involved. Being in this space that you are of, if it's of the divine's will, to work with and be energetically guiding and walking alongside. Being in that space where you're able to walk and be with that team, putting angels over your children if you feel that led to do so, or however that feels. For you are their mother. You have that beautiful divine power, and don't ever question it. For it is such a beautiful gift. Over those beautiful babies, love to all, harm to none in this moment, right here and right now. And just allow yourself to sit in this space. Allow yourself to feel into resonance on what that looks like to have this divine protection. And I want you to visualize it. You don't have to stay there long. Just what would that look like to have your kid go through their day, and for you to drive to work in the crazy traffic and be so protected. And it's an easy drive every day. Yeah, it's no big deal. No matter what's going on, just easily traverse traffic, no problem. What about with your partner? Protection for your relationship and what it is you want to cultivate as a couple. Being able to allow yourself to just briefly touch into the areas you're so divinely protecting through your own pure heart. And it doesn't have to be anything in particular. Just thank you, God, for blessing my child as they walk about their day to day and guiding them and being that beautiful little nudge and guidance and protector over them as they traverse their day. Right here and right now, thank you. Thank you for it already being done. Oh, it feels so good. Just knowing that it's already done. Having that such utter and complete faith. Being fully developed into that space. Right here and right now. And as you bring yourself back and close up this energetic time and this circle, this loop, whatever human labels you want to put it on in, closing the prayer. Taking a deep breath in. Slowly letting it out. I'm just so grateful and thankful right here and right now for all of those involved who chose to uplift themselves in this time and space, being here to grow in their mind, body, and soul, and for the divine good right here and right now, that they just be given the loving gifts and knowledge and wisdom that they were meant to receive right here and right now as they lovingly go about their life and just go about whatever it is they're called to do and go about to become the most beautifully spiritual badass ever in their life that they have encountered, for they themselves become what it is they want to see. They become the energetic pattern of that of which they want to create. They are the reality in which they want to be seen as, and knowing that they are fully able to create right here and right now. And it starts with the wisdom and awareness to divinely protect ourselves. And if you agree with this prayer, just simply say, yes, I agree, amen, however that resonates and feels best to you. Just knowing the divine truth that's being held right here and right now for the highest good of the highest good of all, for all of those involved. And I know that is to be true, and so it is. And if that resonates, let's take one last grounding deep breath. Slowly letting it out. Oh, that feels good. I pray this resonated with you. I pray that you were able to step into this very empowered, badass state for your own divine good and for the highest good of all, and that you have a beautifully blessed and protected day. I'll catch y'all next time. Now go do great things. Waiting on my life.